All right, good evening, folks, and welcome to what should be a great night of wrestling here at Valhalla High School, home of the Norsemen. Yes, here on Orange Nation TV. My name's John Owens. I'm here with my good pal here, Matt Eckerman, here to cover Valhalla wrestling tonight. Tonight is a great showdown here if you're a big fan of Rancho San Diego athletics. Tonight we have the host Valhalla Norsemen versus their new rival, crosstown rival, their Steele Canyon, home of the Cougars. It's a team of destiny versus a team of history. Valhalla comes in here with 21 Grossmont League championships and 12 CIF championships over the years. Such a proud program that's one of the very best programs in San Diego County. Steele Canyon been around for about 10 years, and they've won the last 3 league titles, which is quite impressive for any school to have done, and they've definitely been one of the best wrestling programs as of late. And they're probably favored here tonight, but we're going to see how that all plays out on paper. In comes Steve Bulette in his second year here at Valhalla High School, bringing him a whole wealth of talent of coaching experience. He came over from Monte Vista, where he won a ton of league titles, and he hopes to continue Valhalla's success, and it could start here tonight. Speaking of success, here tonight with me is Matt Eckerman. He comes from Iowa. Unfortunately, I'm from Iowa as well, and not unfortunately, but I was the one kid in Iowa who played basketball and didn't wrestle. So we brought Matt Eckerman in here, the fabled Forest City mauler. You know, he was a state champion in Iowa. He was a varsity letter winner at Duke University, and also quite an accomplished wrestler at University of Chicago. So a whole wealth of wrestling knowledge is in that head of Matt's and not in mine. So tonight I'll probably keep my mouth shut for most of the webcast, and we'll allow Matt to paint the picture of what's going on. Welcome, Matt, to Orange Nation TV.
Hey, great to be here, John. Thanks so much for having me. It's a very nice introduction. We're just finishing up the introductions for the team here. Looking forward to a great dual meet.
All right, right now we're going to cut away probably just for a few seconds of a video that we have prepared about Valhalla wrestling, and we'll be right back with wrestling action here live at Valhalla High School.
You're watching Orange Nation TV.
Amanda Zimmerman here with Coach Bulette, head of the varsity wrestling team. So, Coach, tell us, how's the season going so far?
Well, so far we're undefeated in
You're watching Orange Nation TV.
Amanda Zimmerman here with
All right, we apologize. Some technical difficulties, and the number one thing we want to bring you tonight is wrestling, so we'll get that video to you shortly. We're going to go live here. We actually are live here. We have our first matchup of the evening. We have at 1:38, we have Anthony Gabarizano from Steele Canyon versus Gabe Cesena from Valhalla High School. Gabe Cesena from Valhalla is a junior. This is first time at this weight tonight, and Anthony from Steele Canyon is also a junior. As we talked before at the start of tonight's broadcast, Steele Canyon comes in with a ton of hardware the last few years, and actually the wrestlers that go with it. Tonight they have, I think I counted 6 athletes tonight that have placed in CIF the last few years. That's kind of experience in any sport that you just can't put a price tag on. And Valhalla has a lot of first-time wrestlers, so we're about ready to go, and I'm going to pass the mic over to Matt.
So action underway here. Little hand fighting at the center of the mat. Guys center field and attempt at a takedown going out of bounds. Back to the center. Taking a little instruction from his Steele Canyon coach as he comes back to the center of the mat. Some more action at a takedown here. Again going out of bounds and back to the center. These guys can work center. I think Valhalla's wrestlers a little bit more aggressive on the offensive side of things.
While we're watching this first matchup of the night, you know, Valhalla's the underdog here, and coming into a duel like this, what, maybe even in this matchup, what do you do when you're a severe underdog? Is there certain things that obviously you try to win, but is there any mindset that you have? Yeah,
I think you definitely want to keep the matches tight. If you're a severe underdog, especially in a duel here. Anytime you can if you're going to lose by a decision instead of losing by fall. It's a 3-point differential as we go out of bounds again here. You got 14 weights, so the And if you've got a chance to pin for Valhalla, you've got to take advantage of that. Not much action here in the through the first minute of the first period here. Valhalla wrestler here getting a little bit more aggressive as they come back to the center of the mat.
Now, one of the things we don't know about Gabe Cesena, the junior from Valhalla, this is his first time at this weight. We don't know if, what direction he did have to wrestle at this weight tonight. But obviously, you probably had to wrestle out of weight a few times, or.
Yeah. In fact, I kind of ran the gamut in my high school career. Started at 152. Really wanted to go up because I was a lot bigger wrestler, but unfortunately I had an older brother and an upperclassman that were in the weights two above me. So at one point I just jumped 3 weights all the way up to 189 pounds, and which wasn't smart. Ended up wrestling the defending state champion at that weight.
But I'm going to guess you got to eat well.
I did. It was that's the best part about wrestling is eating. Worst part is the weight cutting. So they've done some things in the last few years that make it a little bit easier on the wrestlers, not to give them the opportunity to suck down as much weight. Again, and there's 2 for Valhalla as we go out of bounds. So the first offensive points of the match here with 2.3 seconds left in the first period.
You were talking about cutting weight and how things have changed, and obviously that was a much-needed change.
Yeah, if you give guys an opportunity, to try to make a weight, and they've got a lot of time to recover. So the Steele Canyon wrestler defers to the third period, and Valhalla's going to pick down here. The previous way guys cut weight, they weigh in the morning, so they had all day to recover, especially on a dual meet like this. And they've done a lot more testing guys at the beginning of the year to determine what the maximum weight loss that their bodies, especially as they're still growing, can accommodate. So reversal here to start the second period, and almost looking at some back points there, John. I think Coach Boulette had mentioned that I think he's wrestled at 132 most of the year. Maybe they just did a flip flop with
Irvin Penaloza, the senior.
Yeah. So Irvin will get to finish off this his last dual meet as the last wrestler. So looking to try to get some back points here, where you go off the mat and back to the center. I really like the aggressiveness of Gabe here. He definitely seems like he's the more aggressive of the 2 wrestlers here.
Well, the nice thing about Gabe is, he's a junior, but first time at this weight, obviously he's maybe throwing caution to win and just going for it, which is obviously an admirable quality of his efforts tonight.
Yeah. And we talked about at the Open, the number of wrestlers. If it was 6 or 7, almost half this Steele Canyon team has placed in the CIF. So it's obviously a pretty strong team. So I don't think any of the Valhalla wrestlers are going to have an easy go of it tonight. And again, the Steele Canyon wrestler looking, getting revert. Oh, nope. Just go with the escape here as they both come back to their feet off the edge of the mat, and we'll go back to the center for neutral.
So in the waning moments here, what would be some advice you'd give either wrestler?
Well, I definitely think that Valhalla's got to stay aggressive. He was pretty active in trying to create shots in the first period, and he obviously wasn't able to keep Steele Canyon down, but he's definitely looked the better on their feet. Steele Canyon wrestlers, I don't know if he's taken a shot yet in the match. Some guys are just more defensive, and as soon as I say that, he does shoot and unfortunately fails, and Valhalla gets a takedown on a good sprawl. Looking for a chicken wing here. Looking to run it around the front. And moves back behind him to keep control. About 8 seconds left here to go in the second period. And Valhalla is up 6-1. And going to the start of the third period, it's 6-1 here at our first match at 138 pounds.
Both athletes look like they've been wrestling for a while. You can tell there's a little bit of wear and tear on their bodies. Obviously, very conditioned athletes.
Sure, yeah. There's a lot of other sports to do, especially at the high school level, and one of the best ones that kind of cross trains for whether it's football or track is wrestling. Because you're in fairly constant motion.
I know in my many years of coaching football, one of probably the best all-around athletes you could have in almost any position was a wrestler. So obviously it was something that we tried to promote always, and obviously always in condition, that's for sure.
Yeah, and typically fairly mean too. So Gabe unfortunately gives up the escape here, but hopefully he can create some more takedown opportunities. Really like to haven't drank as much Kool-Aid of the Orange Nation, but I'd like to see Valhalla get a win here tonight. A little bit of injury time, possibly a little bit of blood.
And looks like we haven't gone. We do have a trainer. I thought we were going to Nikki Diggs, our typical official trainer here for Valhalla, but looks like she'll stay sideline. Like we sent out a.
I thought we had a sideline reporter that I didn't know about.
No, we do not. No, you were talking about weight, cutting weight, and I remember back in the day during my short-lived basketball career, and I do mean short-lived. It was cut short by a lack of talent and general ability. But I remember early morning basketball practices and just watching. Wrestlers run around our indoor pool and to sweat to weigh in and then gorge themselves on food. And I know that's different than it is now, but it was. I always wondered about that.
Yeah, with today's new weigh-in rules, you can't. You just can't suck as much weight, as the parlayance in wrestling, and you just can't get away with it. And we're going out of bounds here again. If you've got to weigh in an hour or two before a meet, you can't have cut a lot of weight, that day. Otherwise, especially in a tournament type atmosphere, you get knocked off. So that wasn't always the case. Guys would have a long time to recover. If it was especially on a dual meet. Again, Gabe here being the more aggressive of the two, shooting his opponent out of bounds. 52 seconds left here in the third period in our opening bout. 6-2 in favor of Gabe of Valhalla. Failed shot attempt here. And fights off and gets behind it for two as they go out of bounds again.
Those of you just tuning in, we have Anthony Gambriazio from Steele Canyon at 138. He's a junior versus Gabe Cesena, also a junior from Valhalla at 138.
Yeah, as you can tell, John, I have not attempted his name once.
Yeah,
I'll just call him Steele Canyon.
Absolutely, and I do apologize to the family. I need to get better at some of those names.
And possibly looking for some near fall again here. Cradle, definitely keep control of the Steele Canyon, and looking for a near side cradle.
20 seconds. For the people at home, 20 seconds.
They can't see it, yeah. So it's 8-2, and we've got a first stalling warning on the Steele Canyon wrestler as we come to the end of the match here. 5 seconds left. And Gabe Cesena of Valhalla will win the first match of the evening, 8-2, over his opponent from Steele Canyon.
Nice way to start for Valhalla. Obviously, we don't know the complete history of how these two teams match up tonight, and maybe that was a win that Coach Bulette was counting on.
Yeah.
Although I talking to him this week, I don't think there was any weight that he thought was a win for sure, one way or the other. And obviously been around the league a long time, sees the talent, respects the talent of Dan Akita's team over at Steele Canyon, and so obviously, but a good win nonetheless, whether you expect it or not.
Definitely a win, and even if these Steele Canyon kids haven't maybe placed at CIF themselves, it's with that many guys that are pretty talented on your team around your weight. You're you're not gonna just wrestle the guys at 138 pounds. You'll be wrestling a guy above or below you that might have placed in the CIF, and that makes you that much better.
Right.
I know in my own career, I had an older brother who outweighed me until his senior year, my junior year, and I wouldn't be the wrestler I was if I hadn't gotten just punished by him, probably from second grade on.
Right here we got 145. We got Walt Bailey from Valhalla. He's a junior, and he was sixth place at the Colton tournament recently. And Coach Bulette said probably one of his hardest workers in the off season, and that's quite a compliment.
Yeah, there's 1 point for Valhalla on illegal leg scissors. You have to have an arm.
And Walt basically is up against it here tonight. Kelvin Schneeman is a two-time CIF finalist for Steele Canyon. Obviously, he is just a junior, so he's been pretty active CIF-wise for a couple of years. A lot of experience.
Pretty talented, it sounds like. I don't know the Steele Canyon team, but I'm just looking down that roster with the two-time CIF placers on a couple of these wrestlers. They've obviously had some success, and a nice duck under for a takedown for Steele Canyon for Schneeman.
And obviously, if you get to CIF, he did well in league, and it's partly the reason why Steele Canyon's won 3 league titles and favored to possibly win a 4th straight one.
Yeah, it's a pretty good run. Kudos to the coaching staff. So Walt needs to build his base up here, to look for an escape. The Steele Canyon wrestlers obviously got some pretty good hip pressure on him, and looking to get an arm bar here. And that's the end of the first period with Steele Canyon up 3-0. Valhalla defers to the third period, and Steele Canyon elects to go neutral to start this second period.
So what kind of strategy is involved when they do make those kinds of decisions?
It kind of depends on the skill set of individual wrestlers. I don't know, whether Walt might be pretty strong on top, and another takedown by Schneeman here. But different wrestlers have different strengths. If you've got a guy that's a really good, top wrestler, maybe he throws in the legs and. He's always looking to tilt, and you just do not want to go under him. That's often why you might select neutral. I myself always felt like nobody could hold me down, so I would always elect bottom. So. Some guys just really don't like going on the mat, there's guys that are just takedown artists that will take a guy down and let him up, just because maybe they aren't as confident, on the top.
So when you were wrestling back in the day, and sorry to ask you all these questions, there's probably a good deal of people at home that maybe are new to the sport or have a relative or whatever. But when you're on the mat, I played various sports, and I don't know how much I ever heard my coach, mainly because it probably wasn't all that positive. But when you're out on the mat and things aren't maybe going your way, what kind of help does your coach typically give, or is it pretty much hay in the barn?
Well, yeah, to some extent. And we're looking at a half Nelson here for Schneeman. Again, this is one of those opportunities we talked about earlier, John. If you can avoid the fall, even if you lose and you get technical fall, not giving up the pin is going to be very important for Valhalla this evening. It kind of depends. If it's a tight match, your coach might be able to throw you a couple. And that's the end of the second period. Sorry, folks, didn't keep you up to date on that. So that's very good by Walt to avoid the fall there at the end of the period. But a lot of times, especially if it's a more inexperienced wrestler against a fairly, good wrestler like Schneemann here. Not to say anything about Walt's abilities, but obviously the Steele Canyon wrestlers had more success. It might be, hey, this is how you to avoid that half Nelson, you want to look away. It might just be little things, with the action here, trying to give him a knee in the rump to bump his hips down, because what you're really looking to do is break down the wrestler. And it's things that a lot of things your coach is going to tell you, stuff but in the heat of battle, maybe you don't remember something. So.
Well, Schneemann is one of those CIF placers. He's I counted 6 of those, and there's 8 CIF qualifiers on Steele Canyon from a year ago, and that's quite impressive. So obviously, Walt holding his own at least in terms of not.
And he's down 8-0 here with 1:15 to go in the third period as Schneemann looks for a reversal and gets that. Walt needs to build his base up, clear his leg, look away from this cradle that Schneemann's looking to throw on him here, a little near side cradle action, build up and hopefully get an escape. Nice, we get a reversal. Currently we're at 10-0, which would be a major decision. 4-point if I still know the scoring. And we go back to the center. So we got 40 seconds left here in the third period, 145 pounds. Steele Canyon's Kelvin Schneemann currently leading 10-0 over Walt Bailey of Valhalla. Not much action going now. We might even get a stalemate, although as it's kind of the waning seconds, I think the referee's just going to let him go.
Soon.
This is big, though. This is one of those couple point swings that I think could help Valhalla if they're trying to overcome Goliath in Steele Canyon this evening. And that's the end of the third period. Kelvin Schneemann of Steele Canyon wins 10-0 over Walt Bailey of Valhalla.
Up next, we're going to go to the 152s. We got Cody Rhodes from Steele Canyon. He's a junior, and once again, one of those CIF placers. He'll be going against Max Merault, who's a senior. And interesting thing about Max being on varsity here for Valhalla is he actually did not wrestle his junior year. So he took some time off, and he'll be back, of course, wrestling here tonight for Valhalla and as a senior in his last home duel. So maybe he can work some of that magic, but he may be up against maybe at a disadvantage.
Yeah, it's wrestling's one of those things that it's not as much like riding a bike, being on the mat, especially against looks like another one of Steele Canyon's stud wrestlers.
But obviously with a year off, not just conditioning, but more experience, those kinds of things obviously probably put Max at a disadvantage.
Yeah, it's the feel, and there's a takedown by Cody Rhodes. It's being aware of your body and, the reactions that come natural the more time you spend on the mat. He's got a leg in here and gets a little high and actually catches him on his back. A reversal in 2. And this is one of those big important moments we're talking about, John, and getting a fall possibly and, tilting the balance of, what Coach Boulette might have had predicted for this match.
For taking that year off, he looks pretty sharp here right now.
Yeah. He definitely caught Steele Canyon's wrestler high as he was trying to throw in the legs. And needs to turn and lift that head up. Lift that head up and put those shoulder blades on the mat. And there's a fall with 30 seconds to go.
I'm looking at Coach Boulette's reaction, and the way he turned, it gave me the impression that maybe, not that he didn't believe in Max's efforts tonight, but I think he might have been, obviously he's happy, but maybe a little surprised.
Yeah. No, that's, when we talk about a kind of an underdog situation here for Valhalla tonight, you need some of these matches that possibly Steele Canyon already had checked off as wins to go in your favor, especially when it's a fall.
And right now we're off to the 160s. Here's Noah Houston. He's a junior from Valhalla. It's his first week back since wrestling in December 8th. He had broken ribs, which obviously I'm going to imagine is probably not the funnest injury if you're going to wrestle.
No, especially if you've got a guy with a really nice tight waist. Hopefully Steele Canyon's wrestler doesn't know that.
Well, and Steele Canyon puts out there a senior who is a CIF placer, Josiah Peralso. And then back to Noah Houston. Noah Houston finished second in the first tournament of the year, so he had success before he went out with that injury.
And Steele Canyon gets a takedown, and unfortunately looking for a fall here at 160 pounds. Hopefully he can fight off and get a nice bridge. He's really near the edge of the mat. It's always a good spot to bridge, and we get out of bounds. That's your friend over there. But he's just leaning away. Unfortunately, this is the tables are turned. Very similar to the way the previous match, 152 pounds, went.
Josiah Peralso.
Unfortunately, there's the fall with 54 seconds left in the first period.
So Josiah Peralso is victorious for the Cougars.
And we've gone back and forth here at the first four weights, John. We were at 3-0, then 4-3, then 9-4, and now we're back to 10-9. So we might see a seesaw battle all evening here.
And this next weight might be the potential Cinderella story of the night, or something there. Like this is at 170 is Jazeel Dantas. He's a senior, and this will be his first year wrestling, and I think it's only his fourth match in his entire wrestling career as he takes on Robert Matthews, who's also a senior at 170.
Yeah, as we look at our sheet here, Robert Matthews is not one of those CIF placers, so I think this does give a little bit more opportunity to Jazeel, maybe somebody with a little bit better, more equitable skill set. A lot of hand fighting to start the beginning of the match here. But it's always nice to see a kid that comes out, even if it's his senior year. I mean, there's some pretty amazing stories within wrestling of guys that didn't wrestle until late in their high school careers that have gone on to a lot of success. Not saying that maybe is what Jazeel's looking for, but it's nice that he's out there and participating.
And that's one of the things that Coach Boulette has had success at Monte Vista and now here at Valhalla. He's just getting a lot of kids excited about the sport. His youth programs, talked to him today, they start at age 5 and work their way up.
That's important. That's how you build a really good program. I know some of the programs in my area back in Iowa, the ones that had the really good youth programs are the ones that have had a lot of success at the high school level. We did have a takedown there with about 45 seconds left by Robert Matthews of Steele Canyon. We're now at about 25 seconds left as he looks to turn him here. The success that you'll see of a lot of programs does have to do with the amount of bodies. I mean, because you never know. You get a kid excited about wrestling. And the more fun he's going to have, with other people, and his peers.
And I think with Coach Boulette's past success, it's not when, it's not if, I should say, it's when this program will. Last year they were just a one. It sounds like just one a few points away from winning league last year, so it's not like they're totally devoid of success recently. So obviously, but things are well on the way. And I remember when I first came to Valhalla about 9 years ago, there was 2 and 3 kids competing for weights, so obviously a lot of competition from within the program before they even got to the mat here on a Thursday night.
And some of those, a really good team, some of the best battles they might face all year are actually in the wrestling room and competing for a weight. We're a minute and a half to go here in the second period with Steele Canyon up 4-0 as he looks to do a tight waist and break him down.
So if you're watching at home, basically you are going to see the little score bug that gives the
and looking for a fall here. And there's a fall 56 seconds into the second period.
Anyway, we'll try to keep you track of time. At home, obviously, we don't have a time rolling on screen tonight, but we'll have your overall score in between each weight. So up next at 182 is Colin Foreman. He's a 10th grader, and even as a 10th grader, last year as a freshman, he placed in CIF, and going against him from Valhalla is Kevin Graff, a senior, who's had some success this year at the Colton tournament. And last year, I believe, if I'm reading this correct, he was 4th in CIF. No, excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong thing. He was second-year wrestler and had some success earlier in the year. He's a senior.
It's good, only second year out, and looks like he's had some pretty good success already this year. So little head tie here, trying to squeeze the other opponent's brain out of his head. Ref asking them to move back towards the center.
So Matt, I know you're quite a student of the sport of wrestling. How would you say if you were to give a report on what's the health of the sport nationwide? Is it as healthy as ever? Is it growing?
Yeah, I mean, I think you see that some schools are even adding wrestling after probably 20 years of declining programs due to one thing or the other. And I have my opinions on that, but I think wrestling is really big at the high school level, and obviously it continues on at the college level, especially if we can keep some strong programs. And people and schools adding programs. We've got a stalling warning here in the first period. 30 seconds left to go in the first period. Yeah, it's too bad. Unfortunately, now we've got a stalling on green. So both wrestlers have gotten a stalling warning here in the first period with 15 seconds to go.
This is the 10th grader Foreman from Steele versus Graff, the senior from Valhalla.
And we're going to probably finish off this first period deadlocked at 0. Both wrestlers looking a little bit more upper body than attacking lower leg. Talk about the strength of your sport. I know you have family in and around the Omaha area, and that was a program that was lost a couple of years back after winning the national title.
Yeah, so the University of Nebraska at Omaha, eliminated by Trev Alberts, I believe, is the athletic director over there.
Yeah, Cornhusker not doing right. Got an escape here, or actually reversal by Steele Canyon. Unfortunately, he's got that leg in. If he's going to look for a crossface here, and probably some near fall points. Good by the Valhalla wrestler to roll back to his stomach to avoid any more back points. But he did give up 2 back points there, so we've got a 4-0 with a minute 23 to go in the second period. Unfortunately, here he's looking at a near side cradle, and we're going to see some more back points. And unfortunately, we've got another fall, 56 seconds left in the second period. Well, unfortunately, we're not seeing that seesaw battle anymore. We've had a couple defeats.
And this is, kind of what Coach Bulette kind of obviously had great faith in his team, and he knows that there's great days ahead. But he respected what Steele Canyon brought here tonight, what type of team. At 195 now, we're going to get a look at Trevor Lincoln. He was 4th in CIF last year. Once again, another accomplished wrestler as he comes in here, and he's going to be going against Utah Man, who's probably the most experienced wrestler that I'm aware of here at Valhalla. He's also placed in CIF in the past.
Yeah, I think this might be probably one of the best matches we'll see this evening.
Utah Man, a senior here at Valhalla, but I think he's got family down in New Zealand.
Nope. Get a little aggressive. Ref's going to warn the two wrestlers.
But as I was saying, Utah Man, I think he's got some family. We're getting a little international flair on Orange Nation TV tonight. We have some folks down in New Zealand enjoying what hopefully a win by Utah and maybe a surprise victory by Valhalla overall.
Yeah, these two wrestlers are really getting after it. A lot of good hand fighting. The ref did have to stop the match to just maybe advise both wrestlers to be a little gentler with their head ties. The takedown attempt, and there's two for Trevor Lincoln of Steele Canyon.
Now Valhalla's going to get a few more wrestlers back here in a couple weeks, and that could change the...
There's a reversal by Utah Man. Get that nice crossface and lift that head. He's already got back points. Looking for the fall.
And hopefully you at home can hear that capacity crowd.
There's a lot of rumbling in the stands here.
They call this place the Thunderdome, and you're finding out why.
Yeah, there's definitely some reverberation. And this is one of those opportunities where, you've got a chance to actually look at your coach, and he's advising him, what he should do there. And Trevor Lincoln of Steele Canyon does manage to get off his back, but in the process gives up 3 back points. So it's 5-2 with 27 seconds left to go here in the first period, a fairly action-packed first period. Be nice if Utah here can hold his man down and not give up the escape or reversal to finish off this period. Underway here with 15 seconds left to go in the first period. Utah looking to keep the Steele Canyon wrestler down and not surrender any other points in this first period. And he runs him out of bounds. 1.6 seconds left to go here in the first period. Both these wrestlers are breathing a little heavy for the first period, but it's been very active.
I'm gonna take a guess. This is probably not their first time wrestling each other. I don't know exactly the history of these two, but I know they've both been wrestling around here for a while, so I figured they had to have run into each other a couple times.
Yeah, and even if it's not at the high school level, if you're living in the same area, you might have wrestled in club or in junior high. I know I saw some of the same kids over and over again in my career. That's until I got fat and got heavy, and then those guys were still wrestling 125, and I was up at 189. So, start of the second period here, a minute and a half to go, and Steele Canyon's wrestlers got the legs in and looking to get a little tilt here. Hopefully, get a fresh start as we go out of bounds. Ref stops it. 1 point for locked hands.
Little interesting fact here about Utah Man. As I mentioned, he hails from New Zealand, and every year we host Australians at Valhalla, and he always manages to wear that All Blacks rugby jersey, whatever jumper I believe they call it, the day of when Australia's here, with lots of pride too. So
a little ribbing by the neighbors. A minute 15 to go here in the second period. Utah Man of Valhalla up 6-2. on the bottom, looking to build up here. Roll through. Hopefully he can. He's got a base down. Did get 2 back points there for Trevor Lincoln of Steele Canyon. A little unorthodox, but he does make it work. Rolls Trevor Lincoln to his back, and the ref does give him the 2-point reversal and 2 points of 4 points.
So for those less experienced fans at home, when you say unorthodox,
well, you don't normally want to roll across your back, you expose your own back. Some guys would call that junk wrestling, but it obviously worked there for Utah Man. He got the reversal. He got 4 points, a near fall, and unfortunately surrendered a penalty point. I'm not sure what that was for. But he does put Steele Canyon on his back. He's got a very tight ride. It's Thursday night, and he gets the fall. 15 seconds left in the second period.
A much needed bucket of points there for Valhalla.
That 6 points makes the team score 15-22 going into the 220-pound bout. So it definitely tightens things up, and if nothing else, makes Steele Canyon sweat each match.
Absolutely. Up now, the 220s, we have Mikkel Magalobnin from Valhalla. He's a senior. He's a second-year wrestling here for Valhalla, and he's going to go up against Logan Statley, who's a junior, and he was third in CIF last year. So once again, those accomplished Steele Canyon Cougar wrestlers just keep coming at Valhalla.
Yeah.
And maybe once again, we're going to see Valhalla a little at a disadvantage experience possibly here, but maybe they'll be able to pull off the upset.
Yeah. John, I didn't get, what was the name of that Valhalla wrestler?
This is Mikkel Magalobnin, sorry, and I do apologize for any butchering I've done of names tonight.
No, I think you did a great job there, John. Getting into the upper weights here, a little bit more upper body, but a nice attempt at a double leg there by Steele Canyon's Logan Statley.
I like the fact you said getting into the upper weights. If I weighed 220, I'd be the skinniest I've been in probably a decade. So
it's been a while for me too. So. A lot more hand fighting. One of the nice things that they've done, especially with the revised weight cutting and added weights, and is that they start the dual meets at a weight that they draw out of a bag. So there's never, it's not always the small guys that get penalized. The closest to the weigh-in that have to wrestle. It changes for every dual meet, which also helps because you're not always coming down to the big heavy guys to decide a meet possibly. So this is one of my favorite moves by a bigger wrestler, the double coconut crusher, trying to crush the opponent's head.
So as you watch this California high school wrestling meet, what are some of the differences that jump out to you maybe between a high school in Iowa or somewhere else?
Well, I mean that's my primary experience is Iowa wrestling, especially at the high school level, and we do have a takedown here by Logan Statley. Probably a few more people in the stands at maybe a high school match back in Iowa. Those winter months, winter sport, not much else to do. Come out and support the high school wrestlers, and do apologize. That's the end of the first period there. With Steele Canyon up 2-0. There's a lot more to do here in Southern California on a Thursday evening, but we do have a decent turnout tonight. And obviously, as we heard the Thunderdome, people making noise. The bodies that are here are supporting their respective teams.
If you're enjoying tonight's coverage of Valhalla Wrestling and you want to watch it again, you can watch it until the end of all time there on demand there on our Play on Sports channel. Just make sure you save this link, or you can always search Valhalla High School on playonsports.com. We'll be back live on January 30th as Valhalla takes on Granite Hills. We're taking Orange Nation TV on the road over to our rivals, the Eagles, across town for some Grossmont Hills League action.
Pretty neat thing that Orange Nation has going here. I know you've covered basketball as well as football this year. This is pretty neat, and
we just got a score. Sorry to interrupt, Matt. And you can interrupt me, but anyway, sounds like girls water polo wins 6-5 tonight over Helix, and they're 6-0 in league. And Madison Stockton led scoring with 2 goals. So those of you keeping track of girls water polo at home, there's your score, and they're off to possibly another CIF title in water polo, another dominant Valhalla sport.
Yeah, that's a sport we didn't have back in Iowa, John.
Yeah, I remember on my interview here, they talked about that, and I didn't quite understand what they were talking about.
I think I normally see that every 4 years in the Olympics.
And Croatia is pretty good at it. That's I know now. But
yes, we had a penalty point there for stalling on the Valhalla wrestler. So the score is 3-1 with 30 seconds left to go here in the second period. As the Steele Canyon wrestler looks to break down the Valhalla wrestler. I think that's going to be fairly difficult to do. There's not a lot of action.
We have Mag Lobnan from Valhalla versus Statley from Steele Canyon. If you're just punching on over here to our Orange Nation TV website.
Here's the end of the second period with Steele Canyon up 3-1.
Overall, Steele Canyon leads 22-15.
And Valhalla's McHale is going to go top to start the third period. Didn't have a lot of success on the bottom, so maybe have a better chance of turning his opponent to secure a win here this evening. Steele Canyon does get an escape. We go back to our feet. Minute 45 to go here in the third period. A shot attempt and a sprawl by Steele Canyon, and there's another takedown. You can see the referee here. He doesn't have to be as active here because the guys aren't moving as fast.
Definitely notice the pace of this is significantly different than where we started.
An escape here. Steele Canyon lets his opponent up. So we're 6-2 with a minute 10 to go in the second period. The shot attempt by Valhalla fortunately didn't set it up very well. And a sprawl and a takedown by Steele Canyon.
Both these two teams tonight are undefeated in league. Obviously, that's going to change for one of these teams.
And here's Turnsman and the fall with 50 seconds to go. Very happy Steele Canyon wrestler looking over here to his folks.
All right, at 285, we have Jose Meza. Don't have a lot of information about Jose Meza coming here from Steele Canyon. And we have at 285 for Valhalla, Luke Basim. He's a 10th grader. And we can make some assumptions. Most 10th graders don't have a lot of varsity experience. I don't know exactly how much experience Luke has, but we're definitely going to see a matchup at 285.
Definitely a lot harder to do an upper weight as an underclassman, just because most of the guys that size are going to be upperclassmen.
Yeah.
And it's like at the lower weights, you very rarely will see a senior that's wrestling 106 pounds, because as kids mature, they obviously get bigger. So, but both these wrestlers look fairly young.
Like you said, we don't have a grade on Jose. We're can make an assumption maybe he's a younger guy. He's definitely not one of the CIF qualifiers and placers that have so far showed themselves for Steele Canyon.
Yeah, but if he's wrestling against Logan Statley, he'll probably be getting better. He looked pretty strong in that previous bout. And we've got a double stall warning. Referee wanting a little more action to start this first period at 285 pounds.
What also makes this matchup between Valhalla and Steele Canyon all the more interesting is a lot of these kids went to Hillsdale together. They're both Hillsdale Huskies. You know, they've probably known these kids since elementary school, definitely middle school. So it makes it all the sweeter. Now, so far this year, Valhalla's had a pretty good showing against Steele Canyon. Probably the most important trophy of them all is the Hamishaw helmet, which was won by Valhalla in football. And if you want to watch that amazing game, we covered that on Orange Nation TV. It is available online right now. You could go watch it after this if you want to get some more Steele Canyon Valhalla action. And
the referee really wants some action out of it. He is just warned both wrestlers again, and both have surrendered a penalty point for stalling. A lot of hand fighting. Going for head ties. Yeah, I mean, this is
inexperience.
It's inexperience for heavyweights. You know, I mean, most heavyweights, unless they've wrestled at some lower weights, aren't particularly comfortable shooting under a wrestler unless they've got really good hips. Both of these wrestlers, neither one of them look to be taking any lower leg attacks. One of the downsides to wrestling against somebody big is that if you shoot under them, you've got a lot of weight coming down on top of you. Having moved up from up to heavyweight in my college career, I wrestled some pretty big guys, and I was a little more hesitant to shoot as well. Start of the second period here, it's tied 1-1. The only scoring we had there in the first period was a series of stalling calls. Hopefully we'll get a little more action here to start the second period.
Once again tonight, Matt Eckerman giving us the details, painting the picture for you, even though you have a picture, but he's doing a great job letting you know about the ins and outs of Valhalla Wrestling.
Definitely a new experience for me, John. I really appreciate Orange Nation letting me test my pipes here. We have a reversal by Valhalla and back points. And there's a fall. That I don't think Coach had that one, predicted going either way. But very good for the Valhalla wrestlers. And here's one of the things that I think is pretty awesome about wrestling. Both wrestlers going over to shake hands with the opposing team's coach. Just a little sign of respect,
Absolutely.
Regardless, win or lose.
And from one of those things, just sitting on the outside looking into the sport, it seems to be, a lot of just sportsmanship. It seems to be really at the center of it. And even in knowing you over the years, you going up to guys that you wrestled at some point, and it was no animosity. It was just, hey, you great job or something like that. And I respect that. A lot of sports aren't that way, actually. Unfortunately, a lot more trash talking, that kind of nature. And right now, just to keep you in the loop, this is at 106. This is Christian Perez, a junior from Steele Canyon, against William Hawkins, who's his first year. He's a freshman, and he was third in the JV tournament at the beginning of this year. So he's getting some varsity experience here tonight. Is Mr. Hawkins?
And it's kind of funny to go from the two heavyweight that, we don't call it heavyweight anymore, but the 285-pound wrestlers now down to 106, and two of these guys would equal one of the previous wrestlers.
Absolutely. The pace picks up a little bit, though.
Yeah. The referee has to be a little more active as they move around the mat. We're at 2-0 here, a minute to go in the first period, as the Steele Canyon wrestler looks to barn arm and looks for a near side cradle here and gives it up. But he's doing a good job of keeping his opponent's hips to the mat. And needs to work a little bit perpendicular. This referee has done a great job this evening, but he hasn't been afraid to warn people for stalling, which I think is good. Keeps the action going. Looking at some near fall points here. Hopefully the Valhalla wrestler Hawkins can avoid the fall, especially after just a nice fall at 285 pounds, not to give the 6 points right back to Steele Canyon. 8 seconds to go. He's got, unfortunately, couldn't fight out the rest of the first period there, John, and surrenders the fall.
We got just 4 weights left, and 2 of those 4 were placed in CIF last year for Steele Canyon, so that theme continues. And we got a mixed bag of experience coming from Valhalla, but right now at 113, we have JoJo Newkirk, sophomore from Steele Canyon, Eric Jones, a freshman at 113, first-year wrestler. So we have another first-year wrestler taking the mat here for Valhalla. And Coach Bulette, told us JV, I think with the exception of 1 kid, is all freshmen. And then here you have several freshmen on the varsity. So very young team for Valhalla, and that should bode well for the future of this program.
Yeah, definitely. Get a multitude of younger bodies in the room, and I think your athletic director Robert was talking about something the Orange Nation's going to do as far as the freshmen coming in.
Absolutely.
So hopefully Coach Bulette, will be there. Maybe get a couple more recruits for next year's team. There's a takedown, and unfortunately, pretty dire position for the Steele Canyon wrestler. Or excuse me, for the Valhalla wrestler. He does fight off his back, and looked to be getting an escape there, but unfortunately gave up the front headlock, and Steele Canyon maintains control here. Very active here in this first period. 50 seconds to go in the first period, and now we might have some back points for Valhalla. A reversal, and if he can get that tightened up, lift the head, we might see another fall for Valhalla. The Steele Canyon wrestler does a great job of bridging and fighting off his back. There's 30 seconds to go. We currently have a 5-4 lead for Valhalla's Eric Jones.
Kind of a tale of a few different outcome in just a few minutes in this.
Both wrestlers very scrappy. And both have done a good job of fighting off their back here. Not something you normally want to deal with. But we have 8 seconds to go here in the first period as we go out of bounds with 5.3 seconds to go. Valhalla up 5-4. Again, our team score currently is 34 for Steele Canyon and 21 for Valhalla. Valhalla definitely has an uphill battle to take this dual meet this evening.
As we get a little bit of break in the action, just remind you, if you're somebody that's interested in coming to Valhalla, we're going to have an open house. Actually, we have the Orange Nation Showcase coming up on February 7th. Make sure you head on over that evening. I think it starts at 6 o'clock. Check the website, though. It's the Orange Nation Showcase. And then also, don't forget Campus Tours, the February 2nd on a Saturday. You can come over and during the campus tours on February 2nd. Take a tour of the school. Maybe you went here years ago and you want to see what's changed. Maybe you've never been here.
It's a pretty unique high school, John.
It's definitely unique. It looks like a spaceship, and that's what most people's first observations are. And great school, one of the top schools in all of San Diego County in academics, the top school in the Grossmont School District in almost any category you look at. And much to the chagrin of maybe some of the people sitting in this gym, but we're very proud to be a part of Valhalla.
Looking for a reversal here by Eric Jones as we start the second period. He does get that reversal, and possibly looking for some back points here. But good action by these two wrestlers here at 113 pounds. Needs to work up on that or run him out of bounds. He's being aggressive. You don't want to sit down there on those legs because the referee will warn you for stalling if you're not looking to build up or return the wrestler to the mat. We have a minute 30 to go here in the second period.
Once again, this is JoJo Newkirk from Steele Canyon against Eric Jones. Actually, Newkirk's a sophomore and Jones from Valhalla is a freshman.
Jones looking to break his opponent down. A little roll by Newkirk, and Newkirk will get looking pretty hard at a reversal here, and now he's getting some back points. It's a pretty tight position there. Very difficult for Eric Jones to get out of this. Whether you're an experienced or an inexperienced wrestler, this is a pretty tough position to be in to fight off your back. We have 45 seconds to go here in the second period, and Eric Jones, this will be a long 45 seconds for him, but kudos if he can fight this. You can get a little bit of a gap there in the ref. Will allow you, if he can get his elbow there. The referee is looking very intently to see if both shoulder blades of Eric Jones are planted to the mat.
Our table's actually.
And we're at an angle here, so it's hard for us to see, but there was a fall there with about 19 seconds to go. And you can hear that Thunderdome. Unfortunately, that's not the Valhalla fans that are cheering.
That's the Steele Canyon ones, absolutely, because we are actually on the, theoretically, the visitor side where Steele Canyon fans are. And a couple of them were questioning why they didn't get that a little earlier. I always love that part when that mic picks that up.
Yep.
Anyway, it always makes for interesting, fun entertainment probably for people at home. Right now we're on to the 120s. Brett Maynard Jr., two-time CIF placer, so as a junior he comes in with a lot of experience against Lucas Walls, just a freshman, and this is his first varsity match. One thing I do know about Lucas Walls is he's got an older brother, Jacko Walls, who did a great job for Valhalla's football team this year. So an athletic family, and Lucas carrying on that tradition.
Yeah, he's got an uphill battle here, it looks like, this evening. Just judging a freshman up against a junior, especially an individual that's placed twice in the CIF. We got a takedown here by Maynard of Steele Canyon. It's amazing how much maturity in 2 years can happen, especially on the wrestling mat. But this will be a good experience for Lucas Walls. And it's one of those things, you know, the more you wrestle, especially if you get into college wrestling, you'll see a guy that might have really worked you over in high school, but as you are now at a similar maturity level, you'll fare a lot better. Maynard here looking for a cradle and working to bump the hips over, and he does get the near fall here. Good job of Lucas Walls of fighting off his back. Does surrender 2 back points though. Looking at some more near fall here. The Steele Canyon wrestler elevates that leg more. It'll turn Lucas's hips and shoulders to the mat. But Lucas has done a great job here of fighting off his back. Does surrender 3 more back points. Currently 13 seconds left here to go in the first period at 120 pounds. Hopefully he can get out of this period without surrendering any more points. Again, it's one of those opportunities, especially as a younger wrestler, you know, not to give up the fall, even though the dual meet might be out of reach at this point. Just for your own, you know, mental sanity. To you know, even if you get beat by 15 points and give up a technical fall, you know, to not get pinned is a nice moral victory.
Definitely, just a freshman working for the future. Those kinds of things you put in your back pocket and remember probably for the rest of your career, build upon.
Minute 30 here to go in the second period. Steele Canyon's Maynard on top 9-0. And you can see a little bit of the the confidence of an upperclassman, you know, and his patience on top here, you know, not getting, you know, out of position, staying in a good position, keeping his hips, controlling the young Valhalla wrestler. And we saw it earlier in this duel where wrestlers got a little excited being on top, and next thing you know, they were on their reversed and on their back. I'm going to guess, John, that our 120 and 126 pounders for Steele Canyon are brothers.
I'm going to guess so. The last name of Maynard.
Yeah.
And they're both juniors, so I'm going to take it probably one step further and
maybe say some twins.
I would say twins.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, once again, if I'm wrong,
Twins. We have a Steele Canyon fan here that's just helped us out and says they are twins.
Okay.
Whether they're twins or brothers or, that's having grown up in a wrestling family with 2 other brothers. You've spent plenty of times wrestling before.
Well, that's
you
the
ever
kind of inside
on the
information you only get at Orange Nation TV. So I know those of you at home that are keeping track of this roster of wrestlers from both teams, you've got to be impressed with how far we dug down for that one.
Yes.
There's somebody sitting in front of our table.
Yes, she's our new sideline reporter. So right at the end here, the second period, Maynard of Steele Canyon up 9-0. And Walt Valhalla will take up to start this third period.
As we do start this third period, just want to remind you, if you like what Orange Nation TV does and you're curious about what more types of shows and video that we have, you can head over for games over to the Play on Sports channel, playonsports.com, and search Valhalla High School. Or you can go to YouTube and find our Orange Nation TV station, or channel rather. We have had over 10,000 views in the last couple months on some original student content. So we have a lot of great things from sports to previews of different teams and all types of information coming your way about Valhalla.
It's pretty cool. I think I'll have to check that out. I've only been on there once, John. We did have a reversal there by Maynard of Steele Canyon, as well as a couple more back points. Minute 20 to go in the third period here, and that's the end of the match. A technical fall with near fall for Brett Maynard of Steele Canyon that will result in 5 points.
One other thing I want to remind people, if you're listening at home and you go to Valhalla, MTV is going to be on campus just in a few weeks for their hit show Made. If you want to be made into something, maybe you want to be like me, want to be Orange Nation TV guy who talks a lot and is in love with his own voice, and you could probably try out for it. We're going to have, for the second year in a row, MTV is going to be on campus interviewing people that have an interest in changing their lives or becoming made into something that they're already not.
That's pretty interesting.
I think, Matt, you should come on over and try that. I think it's only for high school kids, but maybe you can tell them that you're just an older senior.
Yeah. Don't watch much MTV anymore. Is Puck still on MTV? We do have a takedown.
They don't play videos anymore either.
Don't play videos, and a friend of mine that reminds me a lot of Puck, Jeff Combs, if you're out there. We have a minute 42 to go here in the first period, 126 pounds. Quick takedown by Ryan Maynard of Steele Canyon.
And he's facing Carl King tonight. Carl King is this is, I believe, his first varsity duel.
We got some back points for Maynard here. Both these Maynard boys have pretty aggressive, and we see a fall here with a minute 17 to go in the first period.
So now we're at
132 pounds. This will be the final match of the evening.
We have 10th grader Jesse Perazzo versus senior Irvin Penaloza. Irvin normally wrestles at 138. He's wrestling down at 132 tonight. He's a senior. Once again, his last home duel of the season. So obviously Irvin wanting to finish his career at home here in the W column.
Yeah, nice to finish with a win and tighten up the score. Currently it's 51-21 Steele Canyon going into this final bout of the evening.
At the conclusion of tonight's last matchup here, Matt and I are going to do a little wrap-up show, so if you want to stay tuned and listen to our closing thoughts about tonight. Also, you can watch a wrestling preview that we'll play immediately after that, and that'll also be available on our YouTube channel if you want to watch it at another time.
For a second there, I thought you said we were going to get out on the mat.
No, that's
square off.
Would not even be fair.
So, looking at a takedown here for Valhalla. It's a good way to start this.
Crank that over here.
the final match of the evening with a takedown for Irvin Penaloza of Valhalla. A minute 10 to go here in the first period at 132 pounds. Valhalla's Irvin Penaloza up 2-0 in the early going of this match. And a nice little pancake there to his back. That would be a great way to finish off your senior career in the Thunderdome with a fall. He can manage to lift that head up a little bit and get a little bit more perpendicular to his opponent. Put his shoulders to the mat. Nothing better than making your opponent count the lights. And the Steele Canyon wrestler would have counted 9 that are currently on here at Valhalla's gym. That's the final match of the evening, a fall with 35 seconds left to go in the first period. The final score here tonight, 51-27 for your winners. Steele Canyon, a great dual meet this evening. And now you can see the faces behind these voices.
Unfortunately for Valhalla, unable to pick up that next league win, and they will unfortunately fall for the very first time in league action, but they fell to possibly the best team in the league, although Granite probably still has something to say about that, as I understand it. Just what are some of your closing thoughts, observations about either team tonight, as you saw your first Grossmont Hills League action in a long time?
Yeah, it has been a long time, and I was pretty impressed with Coach Boulette's. Did I pronounce that right this time finally? Coach Boulette's team. I think they definitely came out ready to wrestle and very aggressive even when they were overmatched. So I think he's got some good years ahead of him.
And actually, Coach Boulette just walked up here. Actually, if you have a time, Coach, we'd like to ask you a few questions, or can we? Sure. All right, we'll mic you up here, and we'll talk to Coach Boulette about his experiences tonight, and we'll slide one in and slide another one out. And then, like I said, make sure you stay tuned. We do have a wrestling preview video that we've made about some of the athletes for the rest of the season. And Coach Boulette, sorry about the loss, but there's a lot of positive things that I saw out there tonight. Anything you want to highlight about tonight's matchup with Steele Canyon?
There really is. We had some freshmen, that have been wrestling a grand total of about a month and a half, and on our light end, and one of them pretty much almost took down one of the upperclassmen. He's only wrestled 3 or 4 varsity matches in his life, and so that's a real positive. Lucas Walls, same thing, held off a CIF place winner, is very skilled with leg riding, and held him off too. And so, there's a lot of positives. Some of our younger group are really becoming some of the stronger part of our program. And then they got 4 more years, and they'll be working off in the off season. So,
and I have to admit tonight, and I don't remember exactly which one, but one of your wins tonight, the look on your face did not. You were excited and happy, but maybe a little surprised tonight. And I tell you what,
I know
that's one of the best faces of any coach could ever have. So right. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, there's some things that you look on paper, and when things go the other way, you're always happy about that.
Absolutely. Now, real quick, what do you have left in terms of duels, and what does the rest of the season look like for your squad?
Well, right now we leave at 5 in the morning tomorrow for Temecula Valley, probably the toughest tournament on this side of the country, and so we're taking a select few up to that. But we have next week off, but then we go off against Helix and be a good duel with them, and then we finish with Granite Hills. And Granite Hills is, I would say, equally as tough as Steele Canyon this year. And but that time we should have a few additions to our lineup, and I think hey, we could give them a run.
Yeah, just a few more things. And you had a couple seniors tonight that actually finished their homestand with some wins.
Right. And Utah Man, he's been gone visiting family in New Zealand for the last month. And so he was back this week and kind of really avenged the loss that he had last year. His opponent finished above him in CIF, and it was nice to see that turn the other way this year.
And then just if you can make do you have any predictions to make? Any guys that you think we should look for in the CIF having some success?
I would be excited to see some of those little freshmen. Because, those light guys, it'd be nice to carry a couple sophomores that have placed as freshmen in CIF into the following season. With an addition to Utah Man at 195s, and I know Noah Bailey didn't have Noah Houston didn't have the match that he would like. tonight, but he's been out since December with a couple broken ribs, and so this is his first week back. And I know he'll, with a few weeks, he'll get back in the swing of things. So I think, Walt Bailey and Noah Houston, Urban Penaloza, and Gabe Cesania had a really good match just to start things off, the whole dual meet at 138. And so, all those guys, we have a couple solid, really good, solid seniors in our junior squad, and nice to see those freshmen come along.
And if you're a kid out there, maybe you're not at Valhalla yet, or you are at Valhalla and you want to wrestle next year, what would be the blueprint for that?
Well, right now we have a junior program that's really for 5-year-olds all the way up through about 6th grade. And in the spring, as soon as our season's over, we host an 8-week program that's just for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And myself, there's not very many other programs where the head coach of the high school is in charge of the youth program. And I myself will be in there along with some alumni that I've worked with that are wrestling in college. And we'll be working with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders from all over East County. And we'll have sign-ups in March, and they can contact me through the school, and that's probably one of the best opportunities to do. And champions are made in the off-season. And for those young kids, if they want to be really successful in high school wrestling, participating in something like that really give them a big jump start.
Well, Coach Bulette, the direction of this program is just going in the absolute right direction thanks to your leadership, and we wish you the absolute best. And hopefully next year we'll get a few more of these duels covered for you.
I can promise you that.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
On behalf of Orange Nation TV, I'd like to thank Matt Eckerman tonight for his awesome dialogue and description of the wrestling as it unfolded tonight. He helped cover somebody like me with very little experience in the sport of wrestling. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's production. We got more Orange Nation TV coverage of Valhalla Sports coming your way. January 30th, we're going to be on the road at Grossmont, at Granite for a big basketball matchup between two rivals that love to play basketball against each other. Right now, as we head on out, you're going to watch, please stay around and watch a video that was made by Orange Nation TV students. Did a great job showcasing Valhalla Wrestling. On behalf of Orange Nation TV, thank you and have a great evening.
You're watching Orange Nation TV.
Amanda Zimmerman here with Coach Bulette, head of the varsity wrestling team. So, Coach, tell us, how's the season going so far?
Well, so far we're undefeated in league. We're 2-0, and this week we have Steele Canyon, and we finish out the season with Granite Hills and Helix.
Where do you think you'll end up by the end of the season?
I think right now Granite Hills and Helix have a little bit of more experience than we do. We have a very young team, but last year we came right down to the very last match, and I think we'll be right in the running this year as well.
So who are your top weights this year?
We have a few juniors that work really hard in the off-season, Noah Houston and Walt Bailey. Both juniors. Last year they were on the JV team, and they put in a lot of time in the off-season. And so now they're some of the top kids in our section right now. Yeah, definitely in our league.
And so, Coach, who's your top matchup for the season?
I think going into Steele Canyon dual meet and Granite Hills duel, those are the two teams that I think that they're more veteran type lineups, and if we can take one or both of those down, that would be great.
So, Coach, say a person wants to join wrestling, what would you say to them?
Well, I think it's one of the last combative sports allowed in high school and college. And in high school and college, I competed in several different sports, wrestling, football, among others. And without question, it's tough. And it takes a unique individual to be able to go out and face somebody one-on-one, and that basically is a combative situation, and not just one-on-one, but in front of their peers. And so that's not just physical, but mental.
Coach?
All right, thank you.
Amanda Zimmerman here with Walt Bailey. So, Walt, tell me, how does preseason transfer into your normal season?
Well, in the preseason, we practice 5 days a week, and so when the season comes along, we're not, we're ready for it, and we're in shape, and we're just ready to go.
So what are you doing in preseason?
Well, we hit the weight room or the wrestling room, and it's pretty much what we do in the regular season.
Thank you, Walt. Amanda Zimmerman here with Noah Houston. So, Noah, tell me, who's your biggest competition this season?
I think as a team,
It's okay, we'll start
all right.
Oh, that was okay.
I was going to say Steele Canyon, then I said Granite Hills.
Oh, wasn't that?
It's okay, I hate the video.
What?
Pretty sure it's not going to see the back.
Okay, go ahead. Focus.
Amanda Zimmerman here with Noah Houston. So Noah, tell me who's your biggest competition in the season?
I feel as a team that Steele Canyon is going to be our biggest dual meet this year. They have good wrestlers, but they also have a really solid team. They don't have holes or gaps where the wrestlers won't be able to fill the spots.
Thank you, Noah. Amanda Zimmerman here with Nate. So Nate, tell me, how did you get interested in wrestling?
Well, I first started out in kindergarten when a flyer came home in my cubby, and it was a form for wrestling, and my parents said to sign me up because I was a troublemaker. And ever since then, I've been wrestling.
Amanda Zimmerman here with Gabriel. So Gabriel, tell me what your favorite wrestling move is.
I have to say my favorite move would have to be a crossface because it's going to really hurt the guy and see the pain in their face. That's what I enjoy in my wrestling.